There we go. All right, what's going on, everybody? This is Rick and Cole from Tobacco Grove coming to you with another video, Cigars from Afar. Today we've got a really special couple guests actually on this show, and we're going to be diving into Alec Bradley. And we have got Steve Tucker, Alec Rubin, Bradley, as well as Alan Rubin as himself is here with us joined. So how you guys doing?
Doing great, Rick.
Doing very good.
Yeah,
Good
happy
to
to
see
be
you
here.
both. Good to see y'all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we make fun of Steve and his Rocky Patel banner that he's got in the background, can we edit that out? There you go. Move it over to the side. I like that.
There, is that better?
We got to get more of that Live True merchandise, man. We got to get you a banner or something.
How's everybody been doing then? I mean, everything.
He doesn't hoard it. He gives it. He gives it to the retailers.
That's true. Marketing.
What were you saying, Rick?
I was just saying, everybody healthy? Everything okay right now?
Everything's good over here.
Everything is good.
Great.
Yeah. Now
About
leaving the apartment.
Yeah. Now you guys are are you guys down in Florida right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than Tucker.
Right.
That's right.
Well, other than Steve, you're in Illinois, correct?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Okay, so you guys are basically the same as us right now. Everything's shut down for the most part.
Yeah. Everything's shut down. Curbside only in Wisconsin as of right now.
Sure.
Could change day to day. Nobody knows.
So you're really lucky that you guys have the curbside right now, because we don't even have curbside right now. So you guys are really lucky that we actually did curbside, which was very successful. Very, very little customer interaction at all. And we're trying to get them to do it in Minnesota because, it doesn't make any sense where you could go into a liquor store, right? Walk inside, shop around, get a cigar there, but we can't even do curbside to go, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that'll change soon.
Well, let's hope so.
We're hoping so.
Yeah.
We're hoping so.
What are you guys hearing up by you about the lockdown on timing?
We just got extended yesterday. Yep.
Yeah, yesterday they extended it to May 4th is the new date. It was supposed to end this Friday at 5 o'clock, and they just extended it. And it's very, very small chances that kids go back to school this year, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, it's,
You mean this semester or the entire year?
For the entire year.
Whole year.
Yeah. So in other words, they'll start up again in the fall, basically.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's insane for graduation and college and all that stuff. I mean, it's you really feel for the graduating class. For all of it, it's just insane.
Hey, but it's senior skip day for the next 2 months, so.
They had a head start. They had a precursor, man.
Let's start with you, Alan. Obviously, this all comes back to you. Let's just talk about, if you wouldn't mind, just a little bit for those that don't know, some of the beginnings, how the company was formed, et cetera. Give us a little bit of history, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, sure. So I was in a whole different business. Believe it or not, you're talking about this pandemic being like, its own natural disaster. And I was in the fastener business, and we dealt with hurricanes. And it's very funny because actually we had a conversation recently that, a hurricane you're prepared for, and it hits regionally. It may even hit most of a state, depending on where, right, on the coast. But it doesn't hit worldwide. It doesn't hit every one of your customers around the world, every one of your distributors around the world. I mean, this is so much larger than anything we've ever dealt with. Me in business and personal, and personal as well. So, but anyway, I was in the hurricane. I sold products to hurricane protection companies, and then I had a chance to get out and didn't know what I was going to do next. And after a series of bad decisions, ended up in the cigar business, and almost 25 years later, still doing it. So awesome. It was really just it was a passion, and it was just a love. And I thought, hey, let me take a hobby and see if I can turn it into a business. And that's still my goal, is to continue to take the hobby that I have, that I love, and continue to make a business out of it. So it's, and you'll ask the kids next, but I told them this was my passion. They didn't have to get into this business. I didn't say, you got to come work with me, or do what you want. And I'm fortunate enough that they both decided to join the company and be with me. So
that's fantastic.
Cole, he's stealing your thunder right now a little bit. So
sorry, dude.
Yeah, it's just, you look, man, he's the boss, man. We're just, we're moderators.
No.
Moderators, if nothing else. I do want to say, I remember the first time I met Alan Rubin at the trade show, first trade show I ever went to, and the black market was brand new. And then in honor of that, that's actually what I'm smoking right now. It's a Churchill.
Oh, cool.
Nice. That's very cool.
It's been a global line for you, I know. Talk to a little bit to the people about what black market really did for your company and everything else, and the different variations. I know you have the regular black market, the Esteli, and then for TA members like us, you have the illicit, and kind of what the differences are between them.
Yeah, I mean, we're very fortunate. Over our 20 plus years in business, we've had these momentous type of occasions within our company when it came to product. Whether it was Trilogy, when we did the first triangle press cigar, Max was a cool line, which is still around today. We were one of the very first companies in the market to ever do all large ring gauge cigars. And we sold them all at retail for $5, like every size. And we had a 9 1/4 and a 60 ring gauge. We had all this, all these giant cigars back then, which are almost standard today.
Yeah.
So we've had these moments within our career. Tempest as well, one of the first cigar that ever got rated for us in top 25. So we've just had these building blocks along the path of our company, and black market actually became a building block within our company as we continue to move forward. It was unique in its style. We used Panamanian tobacco we had never used before, and we had worked on that for about 3 years and just couldn't come up with a blend. And we were working on 18 different blends at the time. We were down in Central America, and we got to the third blend. When I say we, it was Ralph and I. Ralph's been my vice president for a lot of years, and we were smoking the third blend. And I said, "Hey, this is black market. This is." And he's like, "Man, what are you talking about? We're not even here for black market. We have 3 other projects we're working on.
Sure.
Where did that come from?" And I said, "I didn't pick it. It picked me.
Right.
We own the trademark, but we own a lot of trademarks." And
Awesome.
I just said, "This is black market. I can feel it. It's just speaking to me." And he kind of shook his head like, "Yeah, I get it." And we built it from there. Whole different packaging, whole different styling, everything from there. And it just, it became our #1 volume product worldwide. Yeah, there are countries, that's the first line that they ask for. I mean, generally, Prensado, Tempest all go along with it, but
Sure.
they heard about black market. So, and then boys, if Alec and Bradley, if you guys want to take on the balance of the line with Esteli and illicit, those type of things, some of the changes that we've made.
Ed?
Go ahead, Al. Get us off.
Personally, for me, the Esteli is a little bit lighter than the original black market. It has a little bit more nuance to it. So I personally like the Esteli more than the original black market, actually. I think it provides a little bit more flavor that's more tuned to my palate. And then the illicit for the TAA members only is just a powerhouse. I think it ups the strength and nicotine level from the original black market, but you're still getting the same flavor, but just more ligero, a little bit more strength that really brings it home.
I love the red for the packaging on it too. Kind of tells you right there, hey.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that pops when you walk in.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting yourself into when you see that black market illicit box.
Absolutely. Well,
Right.
and I want to just circle quickly back to one of the things that Alan had talked about, and this is specific for Bradley and for Alec as well. You guys didn't have to get into doing this. You guys could have gone off and done something else. What was it about the cigar industry that made you say, hey, this is something I'm passionate about?
Well, for me, there's so many, parts of a company, so many different kind of directions you can go down when entering a company. But I personally always loved business, and I would just sit in the backyard with my dad while he smoked cigars, and I'd ask him business questions, and I was always extremely into it. And then when I turned 18, I started smoking and fell in love with tobacco immediately. And the cool thing about our business, like I said, there's just so many different options for where we could have landed within the company. And for me, the blending is a huge part of what I love to do. Being in front of people when I get to travel is a ton of fun just to sit down in a cigar shop, have a conversation with people. So there's a lot of different things that we get to learn throughout growing up in this business that is just, it was exactly what I wanted to do. And I knew that from a young age. And I think my father knew, as soon as I started smoking, that, I was going to get into this business because I loved it immediately. Unlike Brad, we had no clue until about the week before he started. So
they're like, you got the name, but let's figure this out. Well, that's awesome. I tell you what, too, I remember I think it was a trade show in Florida that we had. I think it was one of your guys' birthdays, and I remember that vividly because I remember we went to the Alec Bradley party, and you were there, and it was awesome. It was very, very cool. That I can't remember which one was. I think who's the oldest of the two?
I'm older.
That was probably you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was because Bradley wasn't at that trade show. I remember because we all just drove from 3 hours, so that had to have been me.
Oh yeah, man, that was very, very cool. I remember how proud Alan was, and we were all proud for him too, and with him along with it, So, talk to me a little bit about some of the new the blending and how the new stuff that you guys have come out with. Just you, I know stuff like Gatekeeper and stuff like Blind Faith. How did that come about, and how many times did it take you to get to those blends to what they are and what you want them to be?
Bradley, you want to go for that?
Yeah. So for Blind Faith, we really wanted to tell our story to start. So that was really the name behind Blind Faith, was that everyone involved in this process for us needed to have some blind faith. My father did. You guys as our partners buying the product need to have some blind faith in us and the consumers as well, because we had never done this before. We can only learn so much from our father and Vice President Ralph Montero. So it was a risk, but it was a risk that we wanted to take, and we were just hoping that people would have some blind faith in us and some trust in us that we would put out a product that people would enjoy and love. So that was the meaning behind Blind Faith, and we wanted to put out something that people would either love or hate. I want,
Sure.
I don't always want to be, oh, this is a good cigar. I want people to be thrilled about it, or people to hate it, because I'd rather have people love something that we did than just like, yeah, this is good, this is okay.
And you guys have one of the coolest names for a cigar.
Yeah.
In out of anybody, and in my opinion, and that's the Magic Toast. Okay, I love that name. I absolutely love that name. Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, there he is.
What are you rocking, Steve? What do you got?
I got the Magic Toast chunk.
Mm-hmm.
We had the Magic Toast trademark for how many years do you think, Pops?
A long time.
4 or 5 years at least.
So there's
everyone. Well, sorry, everyone was in the office except for a few. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. Go ahead.
It's okay. I was just going to say, tell us about how the name came about. I mean, because it's different than what is on the surface level for that, and I think it's cool for some customers to know about that.
Yeah, well, let me start by saying one thing. So earlier, Brad said, we could only learn so much from my dad and from Ralph, which I think what he's saying is we have limited knowledge.
No, that's not what I was saying. No. I was saying we have limited intelligence is what I was saying.
No, I thought you're saying like, hey, my dad and Ralph only have that much knowledge. There's really not a lot more we can get from them, so we had to do it on our own.
No comment.
So wait, before I answer Magic Toast, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Because this is public, so I want to get an answer, and I want it to be on record.
Oh, geez.
No, it's to Tucker. So,
Tuck,
you worked in the industry before you came to Alec Bradley.
Correct.
What do you see? I mean, what is it that you see maybe that we do differently, or some of the things you can say what you like and what you don't like? It should all be out there, but you were in the industry, some different times. So it'd be cool to get your perspective in front of everybody as to
right. The thing I love about the Alec Bradley family is just, well, first of all, it's the camaraderie and the passion. That's the two things that I see more than anything else. It's also a handle on what's going on in the industry, a handle on what the public perception is and what people are really intrigued with, and developing new things and new styles and new techniques for the future. That's what I really enjoy about it quite a bit, to be honest with you.
It's funny because you talk about handling stuff for the industry. This right here that I've been kind of texting as we're going a little bit is literally handling all the lawsuits with the FDA right now. I'm getting text about what's going on. So
and that
I
is
apologize. Sometimes if I look down, that's what I'm looking to see what's going on.
It's important, man. We get it. We get it.
We're waiting on a ruling right now, whether the judge in the 4th District is going to make a change or whether we're going to force through the federal judge.
Yeah. And that is one thing that I don't think I am very thankful for, is that you are one of the people really leading the crusade. I don't think the general public understands just how much headache and nightmare the FDA is for us, and in turn for them, with Rick and Cole in the middle there as well.
Yeah.
A lot of, I just don't think enough people understand what you and some of the others in the business are really doing, the forefront of this fight. I think that is something you should be commended for.
And Steve, that was actually one of my things that I wanted to bring up too. So I'm glad that you brought it up, was talking about the FDA. And, Alan, when we as retailers, and probably not so much as consumers, but we as retailers, we know of, yourself, and we hear about Rocky Patel doing things, and with Christian Aroa, and we hear all of the work that you guys are doing, and we know it can be frustrating for you guys, who sometimes you feel like you're doing the lion's share and other people are kind of just hanging back in the shadows, so thank you for that and what you're doing. And I guess my question really comes into, can you talk a little bit to the consumer who really may not know, obviously, we don't have to explain what the FDA is doing, but some of the negative things that are happening for the consumer and how it's going to impact the consumer?
Yeah, I mean, immediately how the consumer potentially is impacted is that a lot of the brands that you see today, some of the newer companies, and they're creative and innovative in their, in what they bring to market, they may not be able to comply with the new FDA laws and rules and regulations. It may end up going away. The regulations in themselves have a tendency to benefit the larger multinational companies, right, that are, hundreds of millions of dollars strong, because if regulations come into play, they'll be able to afford it. And many companies won't. Now, it happens to be that Alec Bradley overall, we're in a very good position. Financially, we're strong, and we have a lot of products that were grandfathered, a lot of products that we'll be able to do substantial equivalents. All of our paperwork is already in. So we're pretty good. So if you think about that, my fight is not really just for Alec Bradley, right? My fight is for the entire industry, because the newer, younger companies that are coming in create excitement, right? It wasn't that long ago that same guy was me. That company was me. And now, with Alec and Bradley in the business, if I have just over 20 years in it, what do the next 20 years look like?
Right.
And how do we protect our retailers? Because anything that happens to the manufacturers will happen to the retailers, right? If the products go away and you have only a certain amount of products that you can buy from certain companies that are available to still sell you product, some of the excitement from your consumers goes away. So this is a huge industry fight. And I can tell you, because we look at advocacy in two ways. We look at it in terms of the legislative side of it and the litigation. And we've had most of our movement in terms of the litigation, is suing the FDA, making the DOJ defend them. And, it's a daily struggle. If I get 150 emails a day, 50 of them have to do with the FDA, the attorneys, the associations.
Wow.
And I think that this is truly one of the things that consumers can do to directly benefit themselves, is to join an organization like CRA, commit to $10 a month, right? Because if you had 50,000, consumers, cigar consumers, giving $10 a month for their right to smoke, we would be able to continue with the lawsuits of everything we need to do. I can tell you right now we are, and this is probably until January's billing. I think we are $5.6 million into attorney's fees for lawsuits.
Wow. That is insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, what are the new projects outside, kind of switching gears? What other new, projects are you guys working on, or things that you have, for the future, obviously with your two sons kind of leading the charge on a lot of the new stuff coming out? What's the future look like for Alec Bradley kind of going forward?
I'll take that one. Well, for right now, we are definitely working on a ton of blends. The newest cigar that's going to be coming out is an Alec and Bradley project called Kintsugi, and Brad's better at explaining that part. I'll let him explain that, and then I'll jump back in.
Sure.
He came up with the name.
So Kintsugi is a Japanese art form that I learned about, and basically what happens, we lost down, is that they piece back pottery or plates with a gold lacquer. So the meaning behind it is that there are beauty in the imperfections.
Sure.
And the story behind the brand is that, as we see now, that the cigar community is very divided, and how do we piece back the industry and the community? And weirdly enough, with everything going on with this virus, I think that it's provided us to kind of get back together, do these virtual streams, all get on the same platforms and talk and discuss. And it so happens that this project this idea was made months ago, but as the virus has come up, it's provided us the opportunity to really all talk and discuss and kind of get back on track on where this industry should be headed.
That'll be awesome. Yeah. But what is the factory like for you guys?
Am I back?
Yep,
Yeah,
you're back.
Okay.
What was that called?
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all right. I was going to ask you, so what is because I know you guys are dominantly out of Honduras. What is it like for the country down there right now, and the factories, that you guys and just the overall guys that you work with down there to make the great cigars that you guys make? What does that look like down there? What is the pulse of that country right now?
You want me to take that?
You're the one taking the charge on that.
Yeah. So, Honduras closed down just over 3 weeks ago now. The whole country was on lockdown, and from what we understand as of this morning, they're going to reopen the country to do business on some level starting on Monday. And they just gave a 50-page guidance for businesses that are going to reopen.
Okay.
So, but again, it was 3 weeks with absolutely no work in the entire country.
Oh, wow.
That's some progress, though, moving in the right direction.
Right.
Yeah. Let me see if I can join back here. Hold on. I'm just trying to figure out which way I can get on there.
I thought you were just trying to figure out technology.
Thank you.
And there's the shot.
This is what I deal with every day. Literally every day.
Oh, man.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Well, tell me about Ralph Montero. A lot of people, we know him, obviously, but tell us a little bit about Ralph Montero, the VP. I've known him for a little while. I know Jeff obviously has known him for quite a long time too, kind of what his importance is to the company as well, and what you guys do, and kind of what his role is too with the company.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we have enough time to talk about what Ralph's roles are.
Sure.
It's a long list.
Maybe he's important.
Yeah, I mean, if we broke it down, where I think Ralph is the most important to the company, it has a lot to do with the blending of the tobaccos. He's brilliant when it comes to tobacco blending, but he also has an accounting background, so he does a lot of the numbers for us. So when we're down in Central America blending, it's generally, used to be just Ralph and I next to one another with 30 different tobaccos sitting at the back of a factory, and all we'd ask for is one roller, one supervisor, and the tobaccos, and just let us go. And at the end of the week, we'll have something kind of feel. That's what we did for many years. But now with Alec and Bradley in the company, things have changed quite a bit, because They have their styles of what they want to blend and what they want to do. And we've added, I don't know if you know Eddie Ortega.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Eddie works with us now, and he does a lot with the factories as well. So now it's really a group. When we go down for blending, it's Alec and Bradley, Ralph, Eddie, myself. We go down and, you know, we just cause havoc. So it's a lot of fun, and it's really cool to be able to see my kids every day in their career doing it. And then even if it's not me that is kind of being the mentor, is they have Ralph there,
Of course,
to help mentor them in tobacco. And Eddie also has been around it for a long time. So really have, you know, the boys have great support within our organization when it comes to the tobacco, the blending, what to do, what works well together, what doesn't. So Ralph's main role is still with the tobacco, but again, he's got such a great financial mind that we utilize that a lot as well.
And Alec, you had said basically as well, you had hinted about it adds excitement when, you know, Bradley and Alec are also in this now, coming up with things that maybe you wouldn't have thought of, different blends, et cetera. And I think that adds a nice excitement for the company in all.
Yeah, it happened to be that we were doing just like an intercompany Zoom last night with whoever just wanted to get on. And one of the things that Tucker had mentioned was that he felt that where Alec Bradley really had to step up on, you know, many companies that there's, you know, that we're now into our second generation, right? Just recently within the last 5 years, but that the future seems bright, right? Because we have an established brand worldwide, and now the boys are coming up with their ideas. Alec and Bradley are coming up with their ideas, and they have the avenues to be able to get their products into market, which is, you know, that's really the future, right? Is for them to take the company in the directions that they would like to see it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and absolutely. And Steve's completely right about that too. I mean, you know, you can, as a retailer, you can sense, you know, not just talking about going to PCA, et cetera, but you can sense that excitement with some of the new projects and everything like that. So it's really, really cool, you know, like,
Yeah.
Steve, you know.
yeah. And the packaging's a different direction too. I mean, so you guys have always had some pretty unique stuff, but it's even more so, you know, outside of just the names, but the product itself. I mean, the Magic Toast is just insane. We fall through a lot of it. It's a tremendous smoke, like a lot of stuff, but it's a really one of the more unique things I can remember that you guys have come out with. That was really when I first lit it. I went, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Up Tucker,
you asked about it.
What you got
it's
there,
so
Tucker?
funny. It's so funny of this part of the conversation, because when you talk about the creative direction, I don't know if anyone noticed, but Bradley had like a little smirk on his face because we just did
tell with the mustache when he smirks.
We just did.
It all just moves.
Right before this call that we're doing now, Bradley and I were on a Zoom together, looking at some new artwork, and I can tell you mildly, Bradley and I did not see eye to eye on the artwork.
That's the mild
Really?
I was frustrated, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
I'm glad you were able to patch things up to do our Zoom though. That's pretty great.
Yeah, well, I think we just took a pause.
Yeah, we'll get back to it after this.
I'm glad I wasn't.
We had to make up and then get on this call.
That's nice. Thank God we're late.
Rick, you guys had asked about Magic Toast, and
yep.
So Magic Toast happened to be just a situation where when we were going down to look at some tobaccos, we were actually got off the plane and I was going. I thought I was going to the factory. And we literally drove right past the turn where there's an area you make a right turn to go down another road. And we went past that, and we ended up going to the fields. I'll make it short. We ended up going to the fields. It was late, but they were very excited about this new tobacco that we use for Magic Toast. And so I was like, we couldn't really see. They had the lights on from the truck, and we were looking at tobacco. The tobacco was just an absolutely beautiful tobacco, coming out of the barns of what we were looking at. And they know that, I like whiskey, and they had a bottle of Glenfiddich that they know I drink, and they pulled it out. And I just kind of jokingly said to them, wow, this is kind of magical. It was the setting of being kind of like at dusk and out in the fields. And it was kind of a surreal moment. And I, I don't know how it was said, but like, let's make a toast. And the translation of that was a magic toast. Like, it was magical. We were toasting to the tobacco. So that's kind of how that took place. But yeah, people think like, there's going to be a piece of bread on the band that's burnt a little bit on the
yeah. Flavor profile. I taste charred toast, but it's a magical experience.
We're coming up with a candela next called avocado toast.
Wow.
Nice.
No, I'm joking.
But actually, that's not a bad idea.
You know what?
Throw that one away.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day, man, 2021.
I mean, you already got the filthy hooligan and everything like that. That fit right.
Yep. And then avocado toast. That would be.
This is why we don't see eye to eye.
That wasn't my idea.
I thought it was because I was taller than you.
This is great. So you get the whole family feud in here. It's perfect. I love it.
Yeah. Well,
listen,
you guys know your family anyway. I mean, you know that.
Yeah.
And speaking of family, how is Jeff doing?
He's here actually. He's climbing the walls a little bit, but he's busy doing projects to the store, which is awesome.
That's great.
But so if you hear a sander or something going off in the background, that's Jeff or one of the guys that Jeff's directing to try and get a lot of this stuff. That's kind of what we're doing with our quarantine time and everything else to make updates to the store and different stuff to facilitate and further business when people are able to come back in and see that.
That's great.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great opportunity because there's so many things that you want to do, but then you sit there and you go, well, shoot, this is going to take all day to do this. We've got a business to run. So now is the time to do those things, all
right.
the you want to do, et cetera. That's what we're doing right now. New countertops and, all that kind of stuff. It's all getting done. So see, come in next time, the store's going to look fantastic next time you walk in the door. So
excellent.
It'll be a little bit different too.
Sooner than later, hopefully.
Yeah, I started saying, let's hope it's quick.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, I want to wrap up, but before we go, I just want to say, on behalf of obviously Tobacco Grove, but also our customers, Alan, very thank you to everything you're doing with the FDA.
Thanks.
It's something that you don't get thanked enough for, and people probably don't realize how much behind the scenes work you are actually doing with this. Not just you, the whole company, all of Alec Bradley in general. So we just want to thank you because, that's the fight that we have to all get behind. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, listen, I surely don't need a thanks. I have to tell you, I think we have so much love and passion for this industry. And when I say the industry, if you think about what that is, it's really people, right? We have so much love for that people that enjoy premium cigars and this lifestyle that we love so much. And I just felt like it was important for us, as many people as we can, to be part of the solution. And but again, all the support that guys like you give me, your customers, all the support that they give me, how could I not do this for all of us? It's about all of us being together. That's exactly what cigars are about, right? Or the camaraderie and the bond of people being together. And that's what drives me. And so it's my pleasure to be a part of this because it's what we love. And it's truly within me. It's not something, it becomes burdensome in terms of time.
Sure.
But that's really it. Everything else is a passion and a love.
Well, you hit it on the head. I mean, I think that's one of the coolest things about having a cigar shop and just being, a fellow person that enjoys cigars in general is we have all of these, it's a community. We have all of these people that come in from all of these different walks of life. And yet the cigar is the common passion that we all turn to. And what's nice is guys can come in the store. we can forget about what's going on in the world outside of these four walls, forget, whatever's happening, and just enjoy a cigar and forget about that. And I think that's so true. It's, so thank you for bringing that up as well. So, well, guys,
my pleasure.
I just got to thank you all. Thank you, Bradley. Thank you, Alec, Steve,
Thank you,
Tucker, and comrade Sean Connery for being on there. And Alan, thank you for taking the time. I know you're busy. Hopefully,
My pleasure.
We're going to get some good news. Hopefully, that's going to benefit everybody. So
I hope so.
all right. We'll see you in Minnesota soon.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
guys
Be
for
safe,
having us.
guys.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Bye.